Hello everybody, welcome back to Dayton Children's Teaching Kitchen. My name is Emily Callen, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of making a recipe that we can eat, we're going to make just a recipe that we can play with. So today we're going to make salt dough, and it's a very easy recipe, only 3 ingredients. We're going to use flour, salt, and water. Now the water that I'm using is water that I boiled some beets in earlier today. And the reason I'm using this water is just because I want to try to give the salt dough some type of color. We'll talk about different ways that you could color the dough if you think your kids would get excited about that. But for right now, we're going to try this. So the recipe is very simple. I'm going to do 2 cups of flour, half a cup of salt, and I'll start with half a cup of water and slowly add some in, and then we'll get playing. All right, so here we go. Now, because this isn't a recipe that we're like baking cookies, you can be pretty general with the recipes. So I'm just estimating about 2 cups of flour, not measuring anything perfectly. So we have our 2 cups of flour, half cup of salt. Now, technically, this is edible. It will not taste good, but it won't harm your kids if they get some in their mouth. I still wouldn't recommend it. And we have about 1 cup of water in here, so I'm going to start with I'll start with half cup, I'll mix from there. Now, reasons, benefits for using salt dough or making your own Play-Doh. One is all of these ingredients are really inexpensive, so it's a really easy way to make something fun to play with. Also, kids of all ages can benefit from sensory play. So whether you have young kids at home who really love Play-Doh and you think this would be fun for them, or if you have some older kids and you think that this would be good practice for them, reading a recipe or just getting their hands dirty a little bit and playing around, it can work for kids of all ages. Now this needs a little bit more water, so I'm going to add about another 1/4 cup. Give it a good mix so you can kind of see how it's coming together. We're going to keep playing with it, slowly add that liquid until it forms a nice ball of dough. Add a little bit more water. Now it looks like the colored water did not give me the color that I intended, and that's okay. We'll talk about some other ways that we can do that. All right. We're getting really close. You can see how it's coming together a little bit more. I'm going to add just a little bit more water. All right, we're almost there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the bowl upside down on a floured surface just so it doesn't stick too much to my table. And then we're going to finish working the dough. Now, this is great practice kneading. Get your kids to use their muscles. And to knead, we're just going to bring the dough down and away and fold it back in and push it down and away. So just like if you were making bread and kneading dough, this is exactly what you're going to do today. And we're going to just start kneading this until it's nice and smooth, and then we can just play with it. During times like these, you might be looking for some fun activities to do that are inexpensive and keep your kids occupied, maybe keep you occupied. This is a great activity to do. You can see my dough is coming together really nicely. I want to knead it until it's just a little bit smoother, but you can already see how well this has come together. Now, once the dough is made, it's totally up to you how you use it. If you want to roll it out, if you want to use cookie cutters or something like a butter knife to cut out different shapes, you could absolutely do that. If you wanted to have your kids work on their fine motor skills, if they're over the age of 3, you could put little beads or little toys in the dough and they could pick it out. really anything you want to do. If you want to get out your sand toys and have them build castles, again, you could do that too. All right, so this has come together super nicely. It's nice and smooth. The only thing I'm going to do is maybe put a little bit more flour on the table so it sticks a little less, and then we'll be good to go. So I'm going to do that, a little bit of flour. There we go. I'm going to get some fun toys and we're going to have some fun with the dough. All right, so like I said, we could make this different colors if you wanted to. So I have used food coloring before on this dough. It will dye your hands whatever color it is. So, you know, you could wear gloves or you could just be prepared for the mess that it might make. But I'm going to avoid the food coloring today, and I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon. So this isn't going to add a ton of color. If you wanted to add color using spices, something like paprika would give a nice red. Something like turmeric could turn it yellow. I'm doing cinnamon today because it will make it smell nice and my hands smell nice. So not so much a color that I'm going for as a smell. Now I'll work this into the dough with kneading just like I was doing earlier, and then we can roll it out. So I already talked about a couple different things you could do with it, but rolling it, making cooking cutters, and you can also bake this dough. So if your kids made a shape that they want to keep after they're done playing with the dough, what you could do is put it in your oven at the lowest setting for 2 hours, let it bake nice and slow, and you would have an ornament or just a little figurine that your kids could keep. If you wanted to save the dough and use it again another day, just an airtight container, and this will save for a little while, so you could bring it out again. All right, so my cinnamon's nice and incorporated. The dough is held together nice. So I'm gonna spread out some of the flour, put a little flour on my rolling pin, and we'll roll it out. So playing with the different textures, getting those different sensations, you know, your kids working with material that maybe they haven't worked with before, it's just a fun way to learn and explore. After you are done with your ornaments, if you wanted to paint them, that could be fun too. Now the ornaments that I have today are all Halloween themed because that's the last time I purchased ornaments. So let's see, I can make a little bat right here. Or maybe that's a spider. That's a bat. Little cauldron, right? Whatever shapes you wanted to make. Let's see how I did. Right? And then I could bake this and paint it if I wanted to. That's not an attractive looking spider. But this is a cool bat. I could brew up a potion in my cauldron. Whatever you like to do. So if you try this at home, let us know. Let us know how it went. If your kids loved it. If there was anything that you did to make the dough a different color, we would love to hear about it. And we will see you next time at Dayton Children's Teaching Kitchen. Hey, this dough is disgusting. Sid, that dough's not for eating. You're telling me.